Alright, this is John Kohler with okraw.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. Today's episode is all about these amazing superfoods, man. You guys gotta get on the superfoods or you're not gonna be a super dude. Alright, just kidding. Anyways, you guys caught me red-handed. I is a superfoodist. These are all my superfoods that actually I bought, I own, and I take sometimes. And although, you know, a lot of them, I'll be thinking, John, why'd you get kale, man? Why'd you get freeze-dried kale? You're growing kale in your garden, right? Like, kale in a bottle is a piece of junk. Well, I got it because it's only $5.97 on clearance. This is actually some good stuff. But, you know, I believe superfoods can have their place in a healthy raw foods diet. But what I want to do before I get into anything else about these amazing superfoods that a lot of super sellers try to sell you on, and even nowadays, some raw foodists don't even eat fruits and vegetables anymore. They just eat superfoods out of a package because some people believe they're better. Well, you know, I just want to cut through all the myths, cut through all the BS, and give you guys the truth, and not just my truth, but a dozen of my friends' truths that I've known for many years about superfoods. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this episode where I hear from 12 of my friends about their opinions on are superfoods necessary on a raw foods diet. So now we're here with Megan Elizabeth. You can learn more about her at meganelizabeth.com or check her out on YouTube at Easy to Be Raw. She's been into raw foods now for the last 6 years. And the question for Megan today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Superfoods. Oh, there's like such a stigma with superfoods. I think that there's some that are good and some that are bad. Like, there's a lot that are totally unnecessary, that are just a big waste of money, and I think that there's a few that are really helpful. Like, you know, lately everyone's checking out the barley grass juice powder, and I gotta say, like, I tried it and I really enjoy it, other than just taking it as a supplement. I think it's really great to make sure that you're getting some extra nutrition because a lot of people aren't growing their own greens, so I think it's important to also just research them, look into it, who's selling it, what are they all about, and just do your research before you get into any particular superfood.
So now we're with Dr. Rick Dina. He's been into raw foods for the last 27 years. You can learn more about him at rawfoodeducation.com. So the question I have today for Rick is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
All right, superfoods. Well, first of all, what the heck is a superfood? You know, one of our students brought us a package of spinach a couple years ago, and it says, spinach is a superfood. I know from my wife that there is no legal definition of what a superfood means. So in other words, it's a marketing term. Anything can be a superfood if the person selling it decides it's a superfood. Now, typically, though, superfoods are green powders and things that are concentrated in nutrition, and some of those can be useful. But when you actually look at what nutrients people need, and then you look at what levels you get on a diet based on fresh fruits and vegetables, my wife just gave a presentation called What's in Your Salad, and people were astounded about how much nutrition was in like a 500-calorie salad. People realize, oh my gosh, I might not need this supplement or this superfood or that other thing. So it can be individual. Overall, the healthier one eats, the less reliance they're going to need on supplements and superfoods and other concentrated things. That's for sure. Now, what if you're traveling and you don't have time to eat big salads, or you're in a situation where you're not able to do that? Well, some green powder mixed with a little bit of water, you can eat it like mud and it turns your teeth all green, and you know, that's a great way to get some nutrition in. So those type of superfoods in those situations are extremely beneficial. But as I'm sure some of the other speakers said, my idea of superfoods are fresh fruits and vegetables eaten in large enough quantities to constitute the majority of your calories. And if you are doing that, you are so much more nutrient replete and healthier than someone who eats more of a processed, junk food, raw food diet, but takes all the best superfoods. So fresh fruits and vegetables are your best superfoods, especially the one that John tells you to grow in the backyard, like when we go get our tree collards in the back and our heirloom tomatoes and our zucchini with rock dust and compost and all that stuff. Those are really the ultimate superfoods.
All right, so we're here with Dan McDonald, the Life Regenerator. You want to check him out for sure on YouTube at Life Regenerator. and he's been into raw foods now for the last 14 years, and we're just gonna simply ask Dan some questions today. So, do you need superfoods on a raw food diet?
Well, all raw foods are superfoods if they're locally grown and good soil. But superfoods, I mean, are we talking goji berries? Because, yeah, there's some nice goji berry tea with ginger and lemon. I mean, I don't know what I would do without that when I feel like it, you know? I like some green powders as well, just for fun. You know, what else is constituted as a superfood? It's not necessary. I mean, obviously the fruits and the vegetables are the basis. But, you know, in order to keep yourself well-rounded, sane, maybe social, traveling is nice to have the green powders when you're traveling. So I would say it's not absolutely necessary, but sometimes convenient and fun, you know, keep things interesting.
All right, so now we're with fully raw Kristina.
Hey you guys, it's Kristina.
And she's been into raw foods now for the last 8.5 years, and you can check her out at fullyraw.com. And the question I have for Kristina today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Do I need superfoods on a raw food diet? Well, I think that my idea of a superfood is like kale, is like green juice, is like fruit. For me, that's superfood. Do I consume things like powders and maca foods and all these super chocolate, supercalifragilisticexpiala, raw food, crack cocaine? No, I don't consume many of those things. I value them. I think they all have their purpose, but my idea of a superfood is fruit, green, coming from the earth, high mineral, nutrient-dense food coming from really rich soil.
So now we're with Bennett, D.A.S. He's been into a raw foods, fruit-based diet for over 20 years now. He's definitely a wealth of knowledge. If you want to tap some of that knowledge, you're going to want to check him out at his website, health101.org. So we got a few questions for Don today. Do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Well, that depends on a couple of things. If you're growing all your own fruits and vegetables in soil that you know is healthy, then why should you? There's no reason to. If you're getting everything, iodine, chromium, blah, blah, you know, in the foods that you're eating, if you know you are, no, then of course you don't. A long, long, long time ago we didn't. If we did, we wouldn't be here today because we couldn't have had the superfoods back then. But some people eating foods that they're buying at the local stores, I have found they're just not cutting it. They're not cutting it with chromium or zinc or iodine or something. So in that case, yeah, a worthwhile superfood is good. Unfortunately, 95% of the superfoods are unworthy. They're worthless basically. But there are some worthwhile ones. There's one that I've centered on, and the one that I recommend, the one that has helped all my clients and has helped me. And it's nothing. It's just one thing. It's not like 20 different items in there, and it's been supercharged by plugging it into the power utility for a week, and people chanting over it with didgeridoos or anything like that. It's just one very simple thing, and it does make, if you put it in a smoothie with banana, it makes for a more nutritious banana. That's all it's doing. So yes, it does. Some people do need it. I need it. I use it.
So now we're with Ranzi. She's been into raw foods for nearly 20 years now. You can learn more about her at superhealthychildren.com. The question I have for Karen today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
I believe that really depends on your situation, especially where you live. And I'll give you an example. My daughter went to India on an exchange program, and the area where she was living, she got plentiful amounts of wonderful, delicious, fresh fruit, but she could not get enough green leafy vegetables. And so I really did not want her to get a mineral deficiency. She was there for quite a while, close to a year. And I sent her a jar of a popular green powder that I felt was a really good quality. And she did really well. Out of the 18 students who went on the trip, she was the only student who didn't get sick. And I think she needed the fruit and the greens. So I was glad to keep sending her the jars of green powder. So I think there are situations where we do need these superfoods. And sometimes in the winter when if I go to the market and I don't get good vegetables, I will take some green powder. I think a green powder like Vitamineral Green is very good quality.
So now we're with Tim Van Orden. He's been into a raw foods diet since 2004, so that's like 10 years at this point. I admire Tim, look up to him a lot. You can learn more about him and his work at runningraw.com or his YouTube channel, Running Raw. So Tim, you need superfoods on a raw foods diet.
Superfoods, yeah. What I've realized is it's not the food that's super, it's you that's super, okay? You need a super dude to become a super dude, not a superfood.
So now we're here with Chris Kendall. He's been raw for about a decade now. You can check him out at therawadvantage.com. And the question for Chris today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Well, I like to look at the definition of superfoods, and to me a superfood is one that is a pure natural state. The sun and the earth and the water, everything grew into being, right? So whole foods to me are superfoods. The kind of more commercial superfoods that are dried, packaged, and sold, I think they can be an okay addition to someone's diet if they really enjoy them, if they feel good eating them, being aware of how it feels when you do so. But to me, the truest superfoods are just the whole, fresh, ripe, raw organic plants that you enjoy the most. They're with the water content and the fiber all intact, so they digest at the proper rate.
So now we're here with Dr. Mielcarski. He's been into the raw foods for the last 15 years. And you can learn more about Dr. Sam at drsampt.com. And we're going to ask him a simple question today. So do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Well, I would say I think that fresh fruits and vegetables and other plant-based foods are superfoods. Things that are grown organically in nutrient-rich soil, everything are superfoods. And that's my definition of superfood. So I would say yes. But if you're looking at food that's been heavily marketed in a beautiful package from a foreign land or some secret from antiquity, I'm not so sure that that's necessarily necessary. What you need to be is adequately nourished. And I have a joke about this actually, because I believe somewhere over in Tibet someone's going, oh, American blueberry, very high antioxidant, and they're making a mint on selling them over there, just like we've imported foods from far over there that we're eating and calling superfoods. The thing is, you need to eat based on the region you live in. And so find the foods that are super in your area.
So now we're with Nomi Shannon, also known as the Raw Gourmet. She's been doing raw foods for the last 27 years. This lady is almost 71 now. She looks amazing. You can learn more about her at rawgourmet.com. So the question for Nomi is today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Some people do. I never did superfoods. I never felt the need for it. But the last several years, as I've aged, for myself, I found I need more protein, even though I do lots of greens and green smoothies. I don't eat a lot of nuts. And that I'm doing better when I do superfoods. I've actually made some of my own. I live out in the country, as you know. And I just hacked down about a 1/4 acre of stinging nettle and threw it in the dehydrator and dried it, and then picked all the leaves off it, threw it in the blender, and got a couple of mason jars full of that. But I also buy it. But a lot of people, feel they're eating such a healthy, pure diet that they don't need it and they're feeling great. So it's a very, very subjective thing, and even the definition of superfoods is subjective.
So now we're with Lou Corona. He's been into raw and living foods now for the last 41 years. It's definitely a long time. You can learn more about Lou at loucorona.com. And the question I have for Lou today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Again, I think that even like the first question you asked, if a person is born in this life off rich soil, in other words, if they have no enzyme or mineral deficiencies at all, and if they're living on a plant-based, raw living, culture food lifestyle right from the get-go, and the soil is rich, then a person can just go on with life and never even taken any supplement at all. Well, what I find in most cases, that's rare what I just said, right?
Sure.
But in most cases, people are still living in the city, and they're not eating organic, enzyme-rich, mineral-rich food, because any of the health food stores that are being supplied by the organic farmers and as well as farmers markets, they're running 25 to 75% plus enzyme and mineral deficiencies. And so it's not enough now to just live on organic raw living foods from the health food stores and farmers markets. Unless you have your own land, your own soil, and you're building that soil and making it rich. Because I've already spoken to many farmers all over the country, plus there's a lot of intensive research that have been found that our soil, organic soil, is running 25 to 75% plus enzyme mineral deficiencies. And that's why I don't hesitate to take the enzymes when I consume food. And it's just like a person who has a hard time breaking down fats into fatty acids. Those people have what they call a lipase enzyme deficiency. So they need a little enzyme support in that particular enzyme to help them digest fats into fatty acids. But that's why I talk about people that have those challenges to use a probiotics called Life Biotic to help culturize the seasonous to release the fats into fatty acids so it can be more bioavailable. So it's easier for the body to process it. So as far as the superfoods, there's all kinds of different superfoods. You got your blue-green algae out there, you got spirulina, you got chlorella, you got wheatgrass juice concentrates. I mean, you got people that put all of it together in one bottle. And there's a lot of different people doing many different things. Personally, I did a 40-day water fast years ago, and I mean, I'm 5'9", 160. I went down to 100 pounds when I did that. And so to rebuild my body back up, I actually was doing a lot of study on algae. So I got the highest quality spirulina, and I put it in the juice and mixed it up, and I was going to drink it to help me rebuild my body back up. And when I go in to do that, I went to drink it like that, and my arm went like that. And I tried to drink it again, my arm went like that. I tried to drink it one more time, tried to drink it, my arm wouldn't, it's like my body wouldn't even let me drink it. I was like wondering, gosh, what's going on here? I read all these wonderful things about it, you know. So, so I listened to my body. And I have to tell you that when you do a 40-day water fast, you become more sensitive, more in tune, more connected. And so I became that in tune to that point, and I listened. So I didn't do the algae. So next time I made some juice, I went ahead and tried some wheatgrass juice concentrate. It's a Kamut wheatgrass juice concentrate. I put some in the juice, mixed it up, I drank it, my body sucked it right up like no problem. I did the same thing with organic alfalfa juice concentrate, and I also did it with organic barley juice concentrate. And then my body just sucked it right up. So then I put all three of them together with some mint, and I mixed it all together in my juice and drank it. My body just sucked it right up. I regenerated. I've been doing that since. Oh, wow. So I don't do algae. And then a friend of mine had a scientific report from NASA where they studied every algae in the world, farm-grown, freshwater-grown, marine-grown algae. They tested all of them, and they all had a form of contamination in the algae. And what they discovered also that this particular contamination that's in the algae, it really can be like stripped out of it, or what do you call it, filtered out of the algae. It's like in there. So they found that algae is kind of like programmed to clean the water. So as it you might say, develops this growth in the water. It doesn't come from a seed per se. You know that, right? It's a growth that takes place in the water, but it also attracts, toxins to itself too. And so anyway, that these toxins that are in there, even though there's vitamins and minerals and chlorophyll in there and amino acids, but there's also contamination in the algae, and it accumulates in your liver. So I have people that I've known for many years that have been living a very healthy lifestyle, but they've been taking algae over the years, and every time I check their liver, it's always weak, and they're aging fast. So I'm looking at that and going, thank you for me able to listen and also get that scientific report. It kind of made it more sense for me. So that I haven't done algae, but I've been doing the super grasses all these years. And the thing is that our food, organic food again, is also mineral deficient. So that's why I do the super grasses, and that's why I do sea vegetables. I do sea vegetables like kelp and nori and all that. I don't get it from the Pacific side of the ocean because of all the radiation stuff going on and all the contamination. But I've been getting it from over there by Maine.
So now we're with Ronnie, which is half of the Ronnie and Min team. You can learn more about them at ubraw.com. He's been into raw foods for the last 14 years. The question for Ronnie today is, Ronnie, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet?
Well, to me, raw natural living foods are superfoods. I think an apple's a superfood. I don't know how much more super any other food could be than an apple or a pear or an orange. And I personally don't take any supplements. I haven't taken any supplements on my raw journey. I really can't speak to it because I'm not a nutritionist, but I follow my instincts, and so far I haven't found any need of any kind of supplementation. But we do grow a lot of our own food, as you know, John, up in Mesquite, and we try to eat as close to nature as possible. I follow your principle. If I can't grow it myself, I try to find a farmer's garden, and so on down the line. But my personal experience, I avoid supplements of any kind.
Congratulations, you guys made it through the video. You got to hear from 12 of my friends on our superfoods necessary on a raw foods diet, and a lot of them had many good opinions and really good answers. Some people had better answers than others, and I wouldn't necessarily agree with all the people in the video. So I guess I want to answer the question next, and I'm John Kohler. I've been into raw foods now for 20 years, and the question for me today is, do you need superfoods on a raw foods diet? All right, so the operand word there is necessary and superfoods. So superfoods, as Dr. Dina pointed out, is a marketing term. You know, there's no such thing as superfoods. Basically, marketers and people came up with the superfood name to basically sell you stuff in a bottle, right? And things. So we could call it a super cat or mega cat or whatever. And is that a better cat? You'd get that one instead of just a normal kitty from your animal shelter. Of course not. Please adopt at your animal shelter if you are looking for a pet. Aside from that point, you know, superfoods could just be any food that can be and have high nutrition. So normally they're from a fruit or vegetable or a nut or seed or something like that. So in general, they do have more nutrition than processed foods, than junk foods, than animal products and dairy and eggs and all this kind of crap. And so, you know, part of my teaching is I always want to encourage you guys to eat better and do better. Good, better, best is what I like to say, right? Fruits and vegetables, yes, they're great. You should eat as many as you possibly can. You know, if you're not eating fruits and vegetables and you could eat some superfoods, but you can't eat fruits and vegetables, well, that'd probably be better than not eating anything, because in most cases, many fruits and vegetables are, in fact, superfoods. But the best superfoods in the world are fruits and vegetables, and more specifically, ones you can grow yourself, you know. In my bed here, we got things like the dinosaur kale, and kale is a superfood. This is a much better superfood than the one inside in the package. I also had something called ashitaba. So I only learned about the ashitaba actually at the Natural Products Expo, which is a trade show for the health food industry. And they're selling ashitaba in a little bottle as a superfood. And I said, well, John, why would I want to buy this bottle for like 40 bucks? Because I learned about ashitaba and how it's like more nutritious than even kale, which is really nutritious. And it has these things called chalcones, which most people are not getting in their diet, that are anti-cancer and anti all these other things. So instead of buying this bottle to get the benefits, you know, I'm like, well, what's better than that? Well, I could grow it myself, because I want to let you guys know that fresh foods have more nutrients, you know, than a superfood that's in a package, because it has the full water content and it has the full life force, especially stuff you grow in your garden. And none of this kale gets picked until the minute I'm going to eat it. I'll pick it, bring it inside, juice it, blend it, or just eat it, and it has its full life force, prana, chi, you know, biophotons, whatever you want to call it. And this is super important, right? And not all superfoods in packages have this at all. So, you know, there's definitely a case for superfoods, and are they necessary? Getting back to the question, I mean, if you just want to live, you probably don't need them. Now, if you want optimal health, I would say yes, they are necessary, and here's why. You know, the nutrient you guys need the most is a nutrient you're not getting. And if you're not eating goji berries or maki berries or whatever, and there's some nutrient in there you may need, you know, that may prevent cancer, like in my ashitaba and some of the other things around my garden, you know, and you get cancer, oh, the raw foods diet doesn't work, I ate fruits and vegetables, didn't work. Well, maybe that's because you didn't eat some superfoods occasionally or once in a while. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't make my life out of superfoods. My life is full of my garden around me with a wall of cucumbers, fresh tomatoes, and all kinds of copious amounts of greens. And I eat the majority of my diet, you know, 98%, 90% fruits and vegetables fresh. You know, I eat a small percent of the superfoods that come in packages, you know, to allow me to get more nutrients in my diet that I wouldn't normally get. Yes, if I grow my own goji berries on the side of the garden there, and I eat those fresh, and I'd rather eat them fresh than in a package, right? And that's the other thing that's really important to me is you guys increase the diversity of foods in your diet, and if superfoods allows you to do that, I'm all for it. In addition, not all superfoods are created equal. There are some companies that, you know, really make sure their superfoods are not contaminated with diesel fuel particulate and grown in nutrient dense soil, and there's some companies that are not. So in some cases, you know, a nutrient dense food in a package may have more of certain nutrients than the fresh food, you know, grown in unideal situations. Not that I'm going to recommend eating stuff in packages, but I want you guys to be aware of this. You know, like one of the companies I like a lot is Health Nutritionals. They kind of go the extra mile. The owner, Dr. James Sheridan, is a fellow vegan and eats a lot of raw foods in his diet, and he does the extra mile to ensure his superfoods are actually quite good for you. And I think, you know, just giving yourself the extra boost of the vitamin mineral green, for example, that was mentioned earlier in this video that I had on the table, I think is only a good thing to do. You know, a little tablespoon in your green juice, your green smoothie, is only going to add and help you become healthy because it has so many ingredients in there that you would not be normally eating that will allow you to increase your diversity of foods and get some nutrients, frankly, that you might not be getting. So in the end, I want to say superfoods, they have their place. I like to include them sometimes in small amounts. The majority of what I eat is fruits and vegetables, and as much as I can out of my luscious garden. I also like to enjoy the superfoods when I travel and when I'm not able to get fresh fruits and vegetables. So I have a dedicated pocket in my backpack for superfoods. So when I'm traveling on a plane, you know, I always have superfoods available if I want something to eat, if I want some extra pick-me-up nutrients. You know, and my goal for you guys is to always eat more fruits and vegetables. And yes, fruits and vegetables in a package labeled as superfoods are also fruits and vegetables. And if that gets you away from eating animal products, meat products, you know, dairy, cheese, eggs, you know, processed foods, junk foods, candy bars, cookies, all the crap that Americans eat, I think I'm all for it. But, you know, the easiest obviously is fruits and vegetables. So I would encourage everybody out there to do what you think is right, and life is not about right and wrong. Superfoods are good. No, they're bad. You know, it's somewhere in the middle, and let's just kind of be realistic about this thinking of like right and wrong, good and bad. We need to kind of get away from that, and why don't we think good, better, best, right? If you want to be best, maybe have some superfoods once in a while and have different kinds and rotate them, and don't just always get the goji berries because they're supposed to be the best or whatever. And there are some challenges with superfoods out there, and I do not recommend you guys live on a superfood based diet as some raw food gurus are doing these days. In any case, if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. I have some other videos where I interview my friends for their opinions on a variety of topics, including probiotics and enzymes and all these other things. Also, be sure to subscribe if you're not already. I have new videos coming out all the time that you will always learn something from. And be sure to check out past episodes. I have over 400 episodes now on all aspects of living a healthy plant-based raw foods diet. Once again, my name is John Kohler with okraw.com. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep eating your homegrown fruits and vegetables. They are the best. All right, this is John Kohler with okraw.com. Today, another exciting episode for you. And today, because you guys love them so much, I'm going to do another shopping haul. So I'm going to share with you guys what I got at the LA Wholesale Produce Terminal and also some other plant nurseries and also